Welcome to Leading in Luxury, the podcast where we dive deep into the strategies and stories shaping the boutique and luxury hospitality industry. I'm your host, DanielRenna. For those of you just joining us, we are DMR AI Hospitality Solutions, and we specialize in helping the boutique and luxury hospitality industry scale their revenue and profitability by acquiring new clients. We believe in leveraging cutting-edge technology to enhance, not replace, the human element of hospitality. Today, we have a truly innovative guest, Mike Farrell, the CEO of the Local Open. Located in Frisco, Texas, the Local Open is redefining experiential hospitality by bringing together world-class golf simulators, an American kitchen and bar featuring locally sourced scratch-made food, and craft cocktails, all under one roof. Mike's unique journey from the rail and construction industries into hospitality makes his entrepreneurial story particularly compelling. Mike, it's a pleasure to have you.
Well, thank you.
The Local Open is a fantastic concept that perfectly captures the modern demand for immersive experiences. Can you start by telling us about your vision for the Local Open? What inspired you to create this unique blend of golf, gastronomy, and entertainment, and how your background outside of hospitality influenced its development?
We're really not a sports bar. We removed a lot of the TVs in the restaurant so you could actually focus on each other. When you're in our private golf bays, you're in there with your family and your friends. You can watch your sporting events. You can, listen to music. You can play around the golf, and then we cater to the quality of the product. Crafted cocktails with, we puree our own strawberries and blackberries and do our own lime juice, lemon juice. So we really wanted to cater to the quality of the product. We wanted it to be more like a country club feel without the stuffiness, where everybody feels welcome from the moment they walk through the door.
That's such a bold and innovative leap, Mike, bringing your vision for a high quality, memorable experience to life in Frisco. The description of the private bays and the Trackman technology really paints a picture of a sophisticated entertainment hub. You mentioned that the Local Open is a destination location in a new construction area. And while you have loyal customers, you're looking for a more consistent volume. What are the biggest challenges you face in marketing the Local Open to both locals and those new into the area, ensuring consistent traffic across all your offerings, golf bays, restaurant, bar, throughout the week, especially beyond the peak weekend brunch? How do you plan to break into established routines of local diners and golfers?
That's a great question. I've been trying to figure that out for 2.5 years. I think we need to do some more events. I think we need to get out more leagues, some more tournaments, bring some stuff to us. And we are a destination location. We've hit about every roadblock you could imagine with some, major road construction project and building around the area. It is a destination location, but, one of the biggest challenges we've had is really the expense that it takes to bring in the additional marketing. I did hire a new person here about 3 weeks ago on our social media platform to try to bring in, the social media with the TikTok and YouTube and, the regular platforms, and we tried some new promotions, so we're really trying to bring new people in. And I do believe that someday the new and the old will meet. Our business seems to be more consistent than it has in the past. We don't have the highs and the lows, but it's just not where it needs to be to continue, being sustainable.
Well, it's a significant marketing challenge, as you said, and building consistent momentum for a new destination. You also spoke about the difficulties of controlling costs in the restaurant business, especially when you're prioritizing quality and making everything from scratch. I mean, you said there's not even a freezer. You're committed to using locally sourced high quality ingredients and making everything from scratch, which you noted is expensive and eats up most of your profit due to inconsistent volume. What are the biggest operational pain points you encounter in balancing this commitment to quality with the need for profitability? And how do you manage your food costs, labor, and inventory to ensure that your elevated American classics are both exceptional and financially sustainable, especially as you strive for more consistent volume?
It's been a challenge. I started out paying my labor, servers and bartenders more than the market demanded because I wanted to keep the steadiness and the consistency of the service that we provided. But the cost has been extremely challenging because you just don't have consistent volume. You could be up and down one week to the next by $10,000, with the people coming in. When we opened the restaurant, we knew that we'd be a three-pronged approach. We'd have the golf simulators, we'd have the bar, and we'd have the restaurant. And I didn't know which one would take off, but we really catered to the quality of our product, and people got used to good quality food. It is an American food, but doesn't taste like American food with the quality that we put in behind it, because we do make everything from scratch. So, we're far different than a typical bar food. But I think it's been extremely challenging to keep the quality up there and not worry about the profit as much, but we've steadfast so far and we're going to continue down the path. I pick up steak every week. I've done that for 2.5 years personally. I don't bring it in usually on the vendors. I found a place that I enjoy more. So
Right.
that's a lot of time consuming to keep the quality. And when we don't have it, my customers let me know. So, it's a very finicky market that I wasn't really expecting when we opened up the restaurant. But we're continuing to stay, quality focused more than revenue focused at this time. But it's been challenging. There is
Yeah,
there
yeah.
is a mark that we need to hit every week to stay steady. And more often than not, we seem to go backwards instead of forward. But that seems to be plateauing. Some of the areas building up around us. I think that's going to help. The PGA of America obviously is here. That's sometimes more of a challenge than it should be, I think, because we're only a mile away, but they have a lot more marketing money. So a lot of people go over there. So, we're going to continue.
Yeah, yeah, and those are critical operational and financial considerations, especially for a scratch kitchen. You also mentioned previously that that you've left some opportunities on the table, like setting up golf leagues, tournaments, and memberships, and leveraging the space for more events, particularly earlier in the week. For an experiential venue like the local Open, these additional offerings, leagues, tournaments, memberships, events, seem like natural fits to drive consistent revenue and build a community. What are the biggest operational or resource constraints preventing you from fully implementing and promoting these initiatives? And what kind of support or systems would enable you to effectively operationalize these opportunities and maximize the utilization of your unique space?
That's again a great point. When I built this, I was never intending to run the facility, and yet I'm here every day, open to close. So
Right.
I need to work more on the business and in the business. And lately, I've been working in the business and not on the business, and that is revenue driven. I can't afford to hire a manager to be inside while I'm outside doing some things. So to answer your question, it really takes additional funding to put on the right events planner, a social media or a social person that can go out, and push the leagues and the tournaments and things like that. Somebody, just some assistant horsepower, manpower, if you will, to try to bring in some additional people from, the local corporations. We do have a great venue. We're very slow during the week, and we start picking up kind of every day of the week. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday would be a great time for, corporations to come in and rent out the facility, have golf tournaments, have golf league, create their own environment for their, team building, if you will. So those are the opportunities that we're leaving right now. And I just don't have the reach to go out to the corporations right now. I don't have the people to go knocking on the doors to try to bring in the additional people, and then creating the right membership that people think is a great value, yet doesn't drain the bank account.
No, 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 and I totally understand that. Your insights into building a unique experiential venue, navigating marketing challenges, and balancing quality with profitability are incredibly valuable, and you've painted a clear picture of the dedication and innovation required to lead in this dynamic field. Now, looking at everything we've discussed, from driving consistent volume and managing costs in a scratch kitchen to operationalizing new revenue streams and overcoming the challenges of a new market, if you had a magic wand and could fix just one thing in the experiential hospitality industry that would most significantly enable unique venues like the local Open to scale profitably, consistently deliver exceptional integrated experiences, and build an even stronger community, what would that one thing be?
Wow. Yeah, that's a really tough question because I think there's a lot more than one thing, and I know that we need to focus on the one thing, but it's really getting people through the door. Once they're in, we're okay. You're never going to please everybody, but trying to get them in through the door with the right marketing platform, I think would be the key. Finding the right company to do that. Everybody that has been in marketing, they have a magic wand. They said that they can fix it and they can bring in people, but there's no guarantees. You got to look at the return on investment when you start dumping money into the marketing side. So marketing is definitely the area that I think we struggle the most with, getting people to know that we're out here, what we offer, the products that we carry, and really treating it like an entertainment venue. I think that's been the biggest challenge for me is the marketing side.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. I mean, this has been an absolutely captivating conversation. Your visionary approach to experiential hospitality and your insights into integrating diverse services are truly inspiring. And I want to thank you so much for joining us on Leading in Luxury today.
Thanks for having me, Daniel. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. And to our listeners, if you found Michael's insights as compelling as I did, be sure to subscribe to our channel and drop us a like. You can find out more about the local Open and their unique offerings in the description below. For Leading in Luxury, I'm Daniel Renna, and I'll see you next time.